What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate reverse rants. No way. Listen, y'all. I watched the interview with Jared Anderson, and pretty much his attitude is the same about boxing. He was asked a question about him as far as making a dumb decision to speed off and run from the police. And he basically said that, it's just him being young, making a dumb decision, but he learned from it. Okay. But bottom line, in terms of boxing, now, I do agree you don't have to love something in order to participate, whether it's your daily job, 9 to 5, whatever, every day, whether it's boxing, basketball, whatever. But I will tell you this: there does take a certain maturity and discipline for you to be able to deal with it. Now, if you do have a love for it, yeah, yeah, you know, um, it makes it easy to deal with the ups and downs, the pain that you're gonna go through dealing with it, right? But when you don't love something, and I will tell you this, it's just like a relationship. What happens if a man and woman marries each other and they love each other? Okay, or they're so-called in love. What happens if they're no longer in love? You think everything stays the same? You don't think there's significant changes to how they treat each other, what they do to each other, what they want to do with each other, their enthusiasm for each other? You don't think that there's a difference? That it's noticeable to both sides? What happens if they no longer love each other? What happens if they go into the relationship? Love has nothing to do with it. Right? The hell you think Tina Turner was talking about when she made What's Love Got to Do with it? Talk about, man meeting woman. Opposites attract, right? They attract. That's all. Don't tell yourself it means more than that. What does love have to do with it? That's something that develops, right? Okay, well, Jared Anderson said something that was kind of confusing. Not so much to me, but just the thought. When you look at it to himself, it should be confusing. He said that when he asked how's he feeling, how is he feeling? He goes, I'm blessed to still be, doing what I'm doing, working and, being able to work and, do stuff that I'm. So basically he's talking about boxing. You're boxing. This is how you make your money, right? He basically said, he was asked, do he see himself being the world champion? Does he see himself, really, like, does he have it in him? Does he think he can become world champion? Now the ego says, oh, he definitely can become world champion, but you just gotta wait and see as far as like, he doesn't care if he's world champion or not, basically. And he says he just seen two fighters fight and no belt was on the line and they made a lot of money. He's talking about Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. What I see in Jared Anderson is like just immaturity and stubbornness. Like he wants things to be the way he see it, and that's that. He doesn't like whatever change is gonna happen in his life is like he has to see it on his own. Otherwise, it is what it is. This is why Jared Anderson isn't marketable. This isn't going to get his stock up, and this isn't going to make people want to work with him. In fact, this is the thing about Jared Anderson. Jared Anderson is a decent fighter. Okay, he's a decent fighter. There's nothing great about him. Okay, he doesn't have great power. Believe it or not, with his big size, he doesn't have great power. He doesn't have like blinding hand speed, amazing footwork. Like there's no one as defense, nothing. There's no one aspect about his game that he's great at. Okay. So there's nothing that's drawing people to him. I forget the guy's name that he's getting ready to fight, but this is a guy, another one moving up from cruiserweight. His level of competition is not increasing. And he said, as far as fighting for the title, he can't make a sanctioning body, sanction the match. Like they have to want to fight. And, no, listen to him talk. He doesn't have this desire, like, no, I want to be world champion. There's nothing that's going to motivate anybody to work with him because it's like he's not even dedicated to the sport. This is where when you look at what he's saying, you listen to what he's saying and look at the landscape of boxing, Jared Anderson's name doesn't even come up in conversations. I'll bring his name up to put some light on him to where maybe, just maybe, somebody would go, what about this kid, Jared Anderson, right? But it's more like he's in it just for the money. Now, the guy interviewing him said, like, when he's saying, like, he still feel that same way. Like, you know, he might want to retire, like, the next 2 or 3 years. And he goes, please, you know, don't, champ. Like, I want to see an American heavyweight champion. I really do. And, like, you're basically the best American heavyweight out there. He says, I mean, I know I'm not the one paying your bills. And if you're in the hospital, like, I'm not going to be the guy there to see you and stuff. But, like, I just want to see that. And then he's, like, kind of laughed and he goes, see, but yeah, you know, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, I got bills to pay. I got things to do. Like, you know, I got a little daughter. What if something happened to me? I got to be there, like, for my daughter and stuff like that. And it's like, he doesn't sound sure of himself, even though he claims he's good enough to be champion. And he know that if he could be, if he wanted to, or if he, you know, basically if they give him the chance. I really don't think Jared Anderson has any real passion for boxing based on his own words and the fact that his lack of interest. If you're feeding your daughter, you're feeding your family, if the thing, whatever house you have, cars, if you're doing this through boxing, then your daughter benefits. Now, if you're concerned, what if I get hurt in the ring? This is another thing of what I'm saying. Maybe this basically is why he's not fighting top level competition. Maybe this is why he's complacent where he is, because he's afraid of getting hurt. Whatever the case, you know, I don't know what he has going on outside of boxing. That's not my concern. But the point, what I'm saying is, for this guy, he says there's a lot of things happening, and he's talking about like feeding people, helping people, you know, different things. Okay. Well, unless whatever you have going on outside of boxing is putting millions of dollars in your pocket, the point, what I'm saying is, as a professional boxer, you get to a point where, you know, if you don't find yourself in the point where I love this, I love the combat, you won't go in there and really do the things that you need to do. You won't step up to the plate, and when you find yourself in a real tough fight, you will end up knowing. You'll know, like, this isn't for me, because my heart was never really in it. When he fought Charles Martin was a replacement. Okay. He couldn't knock out Charles Martin. He went the distance. Gerald Washington, different guys who, when you watch these different fighters that have never accomplished anything, when you fight certain guys, and just say, for example, it's like Gerald Washington holding a win over Robert Helenius. Stopped him. Right? Now, AJ knocked him out in the 8th round. Wilder knocked him out in the 1st round. But people still talked about Robert Helenius because he was on a 3-fight winning streak. That's all they said. You want to know what people never talked about? Who these 3 guys was that he beat. So I look at a guy like Jared Anderson and I say, you know, I think he'd be okay if he fought a guy like Robert Helenius, Gerald Washington, you know, like as his step-ups. And the comparison would be, yo, he got near Wilder and AJ. You know, this guy got, you know, stuff like that. Whereas opposed to him and his team saying, nah, we want Efe Ajagba. No, we want Frank Sanchez. Right? Because those fights are doable. He just shows no enthusiasm at all to get in there. And that's his choice. But the purpose of me making this video is to say, like I said already, he's not dedicated to this sport. It's not in his blood. They talked about his mom being a psychologist and stuff, and they think that that's why he feels the way he does, where him making his mind up that, you know, he doesn't want to box for a living or he doesn't love it. I mean, long term, I get. Listen, he has the right to do whatever, however you want to, you know, participate in this sport, however long or whatever. But what I'm saying, nobody's going to take this guy serious. And for people that think, oh, he's just doing this to get attention, what kind of attention is he gonna get though? That's gonna put him in fights that he need to be in. Look, at this point, you trying to get your name out there. You need to be trying to get a fight with Jermaine Franklin, at least. And y'all both in America. At least try to get a fight with Jermaine Franklin. You know, he's not going to get a Deontay Wilder unless a Deontay Wilder was to call him out. I remember, you know, like last year, was it, when they asked him about fighting Deontay Wilder and stuff and different guys, he was saying, like, you know, if those fights happen, but like he's not in no rush, just like he's still young, he got time. This is what he was saying. So to also turn around and say, I can't make sanctioning bodies, like, you know, make these guys fight me, then it's like, okay, what effort is him and, you know, his team putting out to let's try to get these big fights? Because he's moving extremely slow, and especially for someone saying that he doesn't plan on fighting past another 2 or 3 years. Well, then, if you want to truly retire, then what type of legacy do you think you'll have? Because he hasn't accomplished anything. You know, I mean, he's won fights, yeah, so that's an accomplishment that he's winning the fights. But in terms of, you know, him getting to the type of money that he want to get, and without ever being champion to do it. So yeah, I don't think I should have to be champion to find myself in a $20 million fight. Or that's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And honestly, Jared Anderson's skill set isn't, like, he's not impressive. You know, he beats these C-level, D-level guys, and he doesn't have any urgency to get in there with top-level guys. So just that alone, it's like a wasted talent. Like, I see Jared Anderson as that guy retiring from boxing one day, and people saying what he could have been. You know, I mean, because it's there's no drive there. He's not talking about opponents he want to face. He's not talking about what he wants to accomplish in boxing other than just making money. You know, a guy like Ike Ibeabuchi, who was a straight up bruiser in that ring, who mentally was just, you know, basically from what I hear about the guy. I mean, I watched him fight. I seen, you know, I might have seen all of his fights, to be honest with you. But I used to watch him fight, and I remember looking at him, especially after he fought David Tuat. I remember saying, I want to see him in Holyfield or him and Tyson. Like, Ike Ibeabuchi was yeah. I wanted to see him against any other top guys. But the thing that they said about the guy is, like, who he was as a person, and that, you know, basically. So I don't know. I just know what was said about him. But, you know, he ended his own career making the wrong decisions. And I remember the situation where they was talking about, I forgot who he was fighting, and he refused to go to the ring. And I think what he said, he wanted a coffee or a Snickers or something, a cough something, and he wasn't going to the ring until they gave him what he wanted. Like, so, I mean, bottom line is, yeah, he's that guy, another guy that people are going, what if? What if Ike would have did this and that? Doesn't matter now. But when I look at Jared Anderson, this is what I'm saying. It's like he's just holding himself back in a sense. Like, you know, he just doesn't see boxing. Like, he doesn't care about being a Hall of Famer. He doesn't care about, you know, holding a prestigious title and being a champion. He doesn't care about all that stuff. He just cares about making money. He made that crystal clear already. So for those of you who was looking for that next American heavyweight, I already told you guys that if it's going to happen, it's not going to be with any of these current guys. It's not going to be the Michael Hunters of the world. You know, Deontay's on his way out. The rest of the American heavyweights that's out there that people don't even know who the hell they are, they're making no noise whatsoever. You know, Jermaine Franklin, like these guys, Jared Anderson, they're just not it. And for me to hear a guy talk the way he's talking, like I tell you, sometimes you could be equal physically to another fighter, but that person just wanted more. They have more desire. They're willing to walk through the fire when you're not. And I just don't think Jared Anderson is really cut out to be an elite fighter. Yeah, I just don't. And for him to be in the position that he's in right now, just, you know, undefeated, and, you know, has, you know, I don't know. if anything will ever happen, we change his mind. But I'll say, for you to not have this desire and have a love for it, and you don't have to love the sport like like, oh, boxing doesn't always love you back. That's just in the world, period. Things happen that way. People don't always love you back. Okay, bottom line. But for him to not love the sport, that means he doesn't love the train, because that's what you're training for. For him to not love the sport means he might not be willing to go that extra mile to win a real dogfight. He might not have the heart that he thinks he has when he's in a dogfight. I mean, we've seen guys in fights, both eyes swollen shut, nose bleeding, lips busted up and bleeding, and neither guy wants to quit. And Jared Anderson might be that fighter that gets cut and go, oh shit, call the fight off, man, I'm bleeding. He cut my face. You know, who knows? But yeah, so, and that's the thing what I'm saying. And the point of me pointing out, in case I didn't make my point, when you're not great at any particular thing, great hand speed, great power, right now, when you're not great at anything, you're decent or just good, but there's really nothing about you where you're going to just draw people to you, it will be real easy for you to get overlooked. And in fact, the call that you might get might be just for someone to beat you to get rid of you. You know, okay, let's end this kid. And we're going to start a story with him. Let's say, for example, if they said Frank Sanchez versus Jared Anderson. Now, say they take this fight. Somebody might go, this is a perfect way for us to get Frank Sanchez in the mix to where, okay, we just seen him on 2 Saudi cards. Now he's going to fight this guy. Oh, we've seen him on a Saudi card. He's going to fight this guy here, Jared Anderson, after he destroys him. Now we're going to start to build Frank Sanchez up. We're going to start putting stories behind him. We're going to start, getting him on social media or whatever. Just I'm saying, to where let's get him some notoriety. And Jared Anderson might find himself retiring in, like I said, like you talk about 2-3 years, where he might really wind up retiring before that. And once you don't, because when you don't have a passion for something, like I'm not one of those guys, oh, I love my job, I'm just like trying to be politically correct. No, but you do have to have a love for your job. If you do have a love for your job, it makes it easier to deal with the BS that comes with your job. And you understand what I mean? You don't have to love it. You don't. Now, don't get me wrong. Boxing is in a different category. Nobody's punching you in the face when you work at the post office, or you understand what I'm saying? You work as a doctor or whatever it is you do. But you have to, if you're a fireman or a firewoman and you got to go save somebody's damn cat or their parakeet from a fire, you don't know that you're going to come back out that fire. And they're not getting close to no damn millions, nothing. They're not getting 6 figures a year. You understand what I mean? So just saying, when I see things like that, it just makes me feel like, people, they love to play football. They love the game of basketball. You don't hear them say they play just to play. Now, in terms of them respecting, what they're doing, having respect for it and realizing, because there's always somebody who did something to pave the way for you, right? But what I'm saying is they always have that, it's different. With boxing, you hear a person like that, like we say, you don't play boxing. You play basketball and football. You don't play boxing, right? And when you are going into a sport where you may wake up after your next fight, broken ribs, broken jaw, dislocated shoulder, stuff like that, teeth knocked out, concussions, you might find yourself saying, I don't want to do this no more. So Jared Anderson might just, you might see someone doing a story on him one day saying the heavyweight that could have been champ but never was. Who knows? Right now, I don't see him being skilled enough to be champion. I don't see him beating the top level guys. I don't. And I don't, I put him under FA and Frank Sanchez, guys like that. I don't put him on the same seat with them. I mean, bro, at least try to fight a Fabio Wortley or somebody, or Fraser Clark. Try to, we need to see. But see, and that's the thing. He doesn't care. His own words, watching him and listening to, he doesn't care. He doesn't need a title to validate him. So once again, he still has the same mindset. But so for you guys looking for a next heavyweight champion, keep looking. It's the next American heavyweight champion. Keep looking, because Jared Anderson isn't it. He just doesn't. He doesn't have that fire, that spark. He doesn't have the hunger for it. And of course, if you don't love something, you don't put your best effort into it. So the truth of the matter is, in the hurt business, you're gonna find out real quick. You're gonna find out real quick. And he himself talked about his business. His business is like not loyal to you. Okay, you're not doing it for the business. You're doing it for you and your family. You know, and if you're gonna do it, your stock is not gonna rise fighting the level of competition that you're fighting. And especially when you're fighting these guys who are not really good fighters. They're just decent fighters or okay fighters. And, you know, where does that put you? How do you go from that to all of a sudden one day you think you're in the main event of some big blockbuster card? So y'all, that's just where Jared Anderson is, man. His attitude is the same on this interview I saw a couple of days ago as it was last year. And him not, you know, saying he don't love the sport. Like I said, fine, you don't have to love it, but you know, I don't know. If you don't love combat, it's not easy. Believe me. And to watch him in the ring, if he looks the same, and you know, different opponents, it's you can look good against certain guys and bad against others. Okay, the way I see it is, different opponents bring a different challenge. So we're not with this, oh, he had a bad night's night. No. You know, certain guys bring a different, you know, like I said, they just bring something different to the table than the last guy. Like, he might go in there, and even if he looks spectacular, let me give you an example. Deontay Wilder, his opponents have been weak his whole career. But if you look at the knockouts that he was getting, he started getting notoriety based on those knockouts. Jared Anderson, he's just not getting like you know, he has a good punch, not a great punch, had a, you know, good punch. He has respectable power, put it that way. He has respectable power. But when you don't have anything that people can like really gravitate to as a fighter and say, man, the way this dude put punches together, you know, his hand speed, man, his foot movement, his head movement, like, he doesn't have any of those things. You can look at him and say he's a decent fighter, and if he's in there with fighting better guys, then he himself should get better, right? But he doesn't understand that. Iron sharpens iron. So why would you want to get in shape and fight shape just to come in the ring and just keep fighting the same level of competition where, like, you know, to say you can't get these sanctioning bodies to make a guy want to fight you? Well, when you sit back and you're not really making any noise and you're in fights that people are not changing their minds about you, like the same way how he doesn't, you know, have any real interest in the sport, the fans are looking at him the same way. Like, you don't even plan on sticking around, so why should we get behind you, right? And then all of a sudden, yeah, we Jared versus AJ, or Jared versus, like, we want to, you know, build you up, like, watch, take the journey with you and watch you grow and develop as a fighter, just for you to just care about the money and then disappear. Because pretty much, and listen, can't get mad at the man for being honest about how you feel. Just saying, I feel like Jared Anderson is going to be that guy, man. The champion, the heavyweight fighter that could have been champion but never was. And I believe that's going to be Jared Anderson. And I don't believe he's doing this just to get attention, to try to make a demand for himself. I think this is just what he's doing. I mean, in fact, if you look at him, he's the one fighter, he barely does interviews. You know, and when he does, it's like it's his duty to express how he doesn't love boxing. He just loves to get that message out. That's the one thing he does love to do, is get that message out that I don't love boxing. I don't have to love it. So that being said, you guys, Jared Anderson, like, I don't see him as being this next heavyweight champion from America. And, you know, the fact that you got a guy like Jermaine Franklin out there who pretty much, you know, at least he wants to be, but there's no communication between those two. to make any negotiations with each other, negotiations to fight each other. That's crazy. You already live on American soil, and you guys are not headlining American paper fights that's happening over here in America on pay-per-view or whatever. I don't know, man. The hustle's not there. We've been saying for years now, where are the American heavyweights? Man, they're playing football and basketball, stuff like that. You got, just saying. So what's going to happen? We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, that's just pretty much what Jared Anderson is. That's where he is, and that's just what it's going to be. And the other heavyweights, think about it. The other American heavyweights that's out there, when you've seen them fight, you already know they're not going anywhere. They're going to be just journeymen. They already have a journeyman style career. And when these guys are in and out of the ring, and the only thing that you know about them is that they're 35 years old, 16 and or some shit like that. Like, it's like, okay, so how much longer does this guy have left in the sport? And the most that they're going to do is when they have a fight with some rival that maybe they fought in the amateurs or something. No belts on the line, no real notoriety, maybe about 300 people in the audience or something like that. That's the type of fight that you see going on. So for Jared, unfortunately for all the people that want to see him as world champion, he has to want to see himself as world champion. And he doesn't. He doesn't think that it validates him, and all he cares about is the paycheck, which means it doesn't matter what you want to see him do. If the money's not what he wanted to be, he's not going to fight. And it doesn't matter if he fights a champion, top level guy, or whatever. He's okay if he could somehow figure out how do I get to this big money without having to be champion. Anybody tell you they don't have to be champion or don't care about being champion, but they're in the sport of boxing and they don't love it, let's not lie to ourselves. That person isn't going to accomplish shit. Let's just be honest. Let's be real. They're not going to accomplish any of that because they don't have what it takes in here, and in here to make that happen. Do you think a guy like Jared Anderson is going to get in there and beat an AJ? As a matter of fact, we're not going to talk about AJ. We're not even going to talk about Wilder. We're not going to talk about Fury, Joseph Parker. As I said, guys like Frank Sanchez and FA, guys that still are proving themselves trying to get to those points, he's not even going to beat those guys. He's not. And a guy like him at his age and where he is right now, you think that he'd be looking forward to those fights. It doesn't matter to him. So no. The lesser competition you fight, the less money you're going to make. And I don't know why he doesn't see that. Why the people in his camp doesn't bring this to his attention. But it's like to me, it's like, okay, like he said the same thing Wilder said. He goes out there and show everybody time after time what he can do. Right, against lesser opposition. And if somehow he thinks that's supposed to put him in the main event or on a spot where he's fighting for a championship, no, it's not going to do that for him. It's not. So it's like I want to reap benefits without putting the work in. I want to play as safe as I possibly can, and if I can find some circus show type fight to have where I can end up making huge money, I don't care about a belt. I don't care about being the champion. I don't care about none of that. And once again, you'll find yourself going, what happened to Jared Anderson? Man, I thought Jared Anderson was going to be this and that. He's not. And it's simply, like I said, no desire, no willpower, no love for the sport for what he does in the sport. You ain't gotta love, what everybody else do, but even just to say, man, I love this. This is the combat. I live for this. He doesn't have that. It's just about a paycheck for him. And then he psych himself up to go into the fight, and then, it's more than that as you move from the competition. As you've seen, Ben Whitaker fought. And Ben Whitaker, what's his guy? Wilkins or Willis or whatever. Willis. The guy knew how to slip and roll with shots. So even though when Ben is scoring, he's not getting the full blow. And I don't know why people is calling Ben that. Oh, he's a hype job. He's washed up. He's a bum. And I'm like, the dude is fighting 8-rounders, man. He hasn't had that many fights yet. Okay, I think he's still under 10 fights or whatever. The guy is on the come up. He won every single round. Now, he didn't showboat nearly as much as he used to. And yeah, it's times he showboated and he got caught. Yeah. But he still dominated the fight and won every single round. So, guys not, I mean, they always, that word, he's been exposed. Exposed for what? He went the distance, he dominated, and guess what? This is all experience and learning. Do you know when you get quick knockouts, right? You know you can knock guys out. When you go the distance as well, that's more experience. Because you got to do it over the course of a whole fight every round. And you build up and you get better. When you do get a lot of knockouts, a lot of people become complacent with that. You know? People, oh, but he was frustrated. Yeah, you saw time he was trying to knock the guy out. He couldn't catch him the way he wanted to. The guy was able to slip, like I said, and avoid getting hit with the full shot. You know, the full blow of the shot. But he won. He dominated. And that's what matters. This didn't make him look bad any kind of way. So I fail to really understand where people are coming from with that. The guy just went the distance. That's it. Hey, he struggled. He looked bad. No, he didn't struggle and look bad. He was in a fucking fight that he won. So I don't understand where people come up with this stuff. But, you know, and at least in that sense, too, for him, here's a guy who's coming up. And, you know, for people that's saying, like, Bivol and all, I'm like, listen, if he keeps winning eventually, and they all keep winning, their paths are going to cross at some point. Now, Beterbiev, I don't know, because he's like 30, 38, 39 now. So I don't know if he'll still be there by the time Ben Whitaker gets in line, you know, for a title shot or something. You know, it's possible Bivol might still be there because he, you know, he's a lot younger. But at the same time, it's like, to start comparing him, like putting him in the same category with them, like this is going to be next to something else. No, it's let the guy grow and develop as a fighter, man. Ben Whitaker has respectable power, good hand speed, good head movement, foot work, you know, and he likes to showboat. And as the more he steps up in competition, more likely, yeah, you'll see less showboating. But the point is, you know, he's there, he wants to fight. So everybody has this desire, this passion to be the best. You know, so like I said, you can say, I don't love boxing, but I love it when I do it. Let's say it like, so either way, the bottom line is you guys want to see a guy in a position that he doesn't respect or care about if he gets there or not. And a guy like Ben Whitaker, who's out here fighting, and at least he wants to fight. He wants to be champion, you know. Jared Anderson doesn't. He doesn't. So it's really like a waste of time, and people don't want to invest in a guy like that. Let's just be real. Like, he's his own worst enemy right now in this situation. You know, once you get to a point where you just feel like if things don't happen the way you envision it, then you're going to walk away. Well, he also might be one of those guys that retire, just so like you said, 2-3 years from now, disappear for 3-4 years, 5 years, 6 years, then all of a sudden, guess who's back? You know? So, like I said, unless he has something else to hold on to, I don't understand how you're blessed to still be working and be doing what you're doing, but yet you don't feel the need to be world champion. Yeah, but you want world champion money. That's my whole thing with that. So, yeah, guys, I think people just know it's not cool to risk just investing in him emotionally, you know, or financially, because he's just not there he's not there for the long haul. So, tell me what y'all think about Jared Anderson. I don't know if y'all saw the interview, but bottom line, same thing he was saying before. What y'all think about this guy? Do y'all think that eventually he'll get a call as a sacrificial lamb and not realize it? Or do you think he'll have a change of heart and wind up understanding what he needs to do and mentally the space he needs to be in to really mean something in this sport? Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people, and I will catch y'all on the next video.